Good evening, my friends. We're going to continue our story of Jack the Pumpkin King, Part 7. Buckle up, kiddos. It's about to become a rough ride. The night was cold and rain threatened. The full moon fought to stay in view with the fast-moving overcast. But Jack was not going to let this affect his mood. Despite the possibility of bad weather, the people came out in droves. Halloween is the last holiday of the year, with possible decent weather in these parts, and the locals knew it. Lines were forming for attractions, and Jack was busy driving the tractor, telling his dark tales. Halfway around the track, he stopped and let those out who wanted to wander the pumpkin patch. The high schoolers who were hired to help were spread throughout the farm, helping customers with various things. They always stepped and waved when the hayride drove by. Everyone was in a good mood. There was a good night, but all that was about to change. Segue to the drifter. Drifter jerked awake and sat up confused. He stared out the Buick's windshield at the moon. It was huge and seemed so close that he could reach out and touch it. A violent shake hit him. While he was reaching out, he bounced around the car. He hit his head on the steering wheel, reopening the wound from falling in the bathroom floor. Blood poured in his eyes. He wiped it out with his hands, smearing blood all around, creating a face no one will ever forget. Well, for those who lived anyway. He started the car and exited right onto 27th Street and drove with no destination in mind. He crossed over the Rock River, and as he passed the Moline Airport, he saw lights reflecting off the clouds up ahead. Drawn to the lights, he turned off 27th onto a dirt road, missing the signs with arrows pointing towards Jack's Pumpkin Kingdom up ahead. Bill woke up in the woods and looked around. He could hear laughter and muffled conversations from people enjoying their time at the farm. He got up, pulled out his flask, and took a swig. He grimaced from the bite of the whiskey, took another swig, and stumbled off from the opposite direction of the voices towards an old logging road at the edge of the property. He had been working for Jack for a few years, and he knew the land well. His plan was to walk road back to the front parking area and sleep it off in his truck. As he stepped out from the woods and into the road, he stopped short and stood still. There was a car parked in the road with its trunk open, blocking his way. He said to no one, probably some teenager making out or something. He approached the car carefully and peered into the driver's seat, but the car was empty. He walked around the trunk and saw nobody. He shrugged, turned to go and screamed. Bloody murder. A bloody-faced monster was standing behind him with what looked like a tire iron raised over his head. Bill froze in fear, and the monster swung down hard, caving in his forehead and crushing his skull. Bill had no last thoughts as his body lay limp on the ground. The drifter picks up the body like a rag doll, because whatever was possessing him made him strong. Drifter stuffed the body into the trunk and made his way through the woods, following the noise of happy people. His forehead throbbed with pain as it seemed to pulse with every surge of pain. His vision blurred. Standing at the edge of an opening, he stared at people wandering around the pumpkin patch. He could hear an amplified voice droning on about something off in the distance. To his left, he saw a large barn in need of a paint job. He crept up to it from the edge of the woods and stumbled toward the back door. The door hinges protested during the swing inward, and he stepped into the dreary room. A lamp just outside the open door reflected light off the shiny farm tools hanging from the wall. Strong scent of fertilizer filled his nostrils as he made his way to those tools. On that wall, tire iron made a scratchy thud. The old sawdust floor. As he reached to choose his weapon, he grabbed a curvy sickle. He then stood in the open bay door, and a puddle of light from the lamp mounted above. The amplified voice was getting louder, and he noticed headlights bobbing and weaving towards him from his left. He watched as the tractor went by, carrying a trailer load of people. Some of them looked at him in horror as they bounced past him. And that, my friends, is the end to part 7. Tune in and pay attention, because I plan on finishing Jack the Pumpkin King before Halloween is over. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, and follow.